Hi, kiddos. My name is Miss Celeste. Do you know you can take an adventure in your own home? Well, go find your favorite spot to sit on a couch, a chair, on the floor, and come take a reading adventure with me. Check this out. Mr. Toad's Narrow Escapes by Kate Petty and Alan Baker. Mr. Toad's Narrow Escapes by Kate Petty and illustrated by Alan Baker. A chilly autumn wind ruffles the surface of the pond where Mr. Toad, his wife, Lumpy, and all their hundreds of children spent the summer. Brrr, shivers Mr. Toad. All the toads began to feel cold and sleepy. Time to find somewhere to curl up for the winter, said Mr. Toad. I'd like a nice upturned flower pot myself. Let's find 2 nice flower pots, says Lumpy. I think I'll start out right away, says Mr. Toad. Great, said Lumpy, who thinks there is a lot of clearing up to do first. I'll lead the way. You follow when you're ready, dear. Mr. Toad turns to his eldest son. Come on, Lucky, he says. Lumpy watches them go. Then she looks around and smiles her beautiful warty smile. It wasn't going to be very hard to find 2 nice flower pots. Keep up, said Mr. Toad to Lucky as they waddle along. I'm certain I've seen an upturned flower pot close to a pond not far from here. Quick, across the road. Phew, Mr. Toad said. Lucky, lucky. You should know better than to cross a country road on a curve, Mr. Toad. It's probably just the other side of this field of cows, said Mr. Toad. He looks at the fence. It isn't barbed wire. It doesn't look like a very strong fence for so many cows. He puts his ear to it. It's humming. Mr. Toad leaps over the fence. He just catches his slippery foot on the wire. Ah, that was an electric fence. Lucky helps Mr. Toad to his feet. I'm not hurt, said Mr. Toad in a terrible voice, just a little shocked. We could use a rest, Dad, says Lucky. Not in the haystack. The hay might smother us. This looks like a good place. It is such a nice sheltered spot that Father and son fall asleep right away. When he wakes up, Mr. Toad's head is spinning. Jump, he croaks. They jump clear of the tractor wheel. Everyone should know to keep away from farm machines. They can start to roll at any time. There is a tiny stream at the bottom of the hill. Let's hop over, said Mr. Toad. Over goes Lucky. but the stream is wider than it looks and deeper. It's a good thing Mr. Toad is a strong swimmer because there is no one around for miles big enough to help him. Mr. Toad and Lucky sit down. "Do you know, Lucky," said Mr. Toad, "I'm not altogether sure where we are. Perhaps we had better go back and find Lumpy." Mr. Toad looks around him. "That telephone pole seems familiar. That must be on the way home." But there are lots of telephone poles. Luckily, sensible Lucky remembers a more unusual landmark. That's the way. They remember to follow the stream. They also remember to go up the hill. But both the toads forget that sometimes cows like to run. "Are we still alive?" asked Lucky, peeping at Mr. Toad. "I think so," said Mr. Toad, peeking back. "I'm hungry," says Mr. Toad. "We'd better wait until we get home," says Lucky. "These berries and mushrooms might be poisonous." They cross the road, this time at a place where they can see clearly in both directions. And there is their old pond. But where is Lumpy? Quack, quack. Lumpy has found two wonderful homes for the winter. After a quick bite to eat, Mr. Toad and Lucky are more than ready to go to sleep. The end. Well, it's time for me to leave you today. What did you think of the story? If you like it, put on your smile and share your adventure with your friends and family. Well, until next time, you have a happy and blessed day. And don't forget to subscribe and like for more adventurous reads.